Welcome to Michigan Business Talk. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, women and children of all ages, my name is Mike Doctor, and it has been a while. And I'll tell you, I am really, really excited to be here for the official kickoff with you guys of season 2 of Michigan Business Talk. And it's been a wild ride. it's been kind of crazy. 2020 has been one of those years that I think everybody has reflected quite a bit on what it is that they do and why they do what they do, what's important to them, what are the things rather that they want to spend their time doing and not just have to spend their time doing. We've all realized we can work from home a little bit. Some of us, right? Some of us are better than others at that, and we've all experienced some sort of loss, even if it's just a loss of our regular things that we're used to doing. I remember so many times throughout the course of this thing since, I don't know, April, March, June, whenever it was that they officially did the quarantine here in Michigan, how many times I've said to my wife, like, I just miss just going to the bar and watching a game and having a beer and just like randomly talking to the bartender. We were driving in Grand Rapids and we drove by the Score the other day, and me and my buddy Jimmy Compton, always used to meet at the Score, watch the game, have a couple brews, have some appetizers, split a pizza, whatever it was. And those types of things, you don't realize how much you miss those things until they're gone. And we've all had to adjust a little bit. And so there's a handful of things that I want to talk about as we're kicking off this information. The first thing I want to do is I want to thank you guys for listening. And the reason I want to thank you for listening or watching or however you're consuming this is because everybody and their brother right now is putting out information, putting out content, recap of 2020, how to start 2021 strong. Here we are, what happened, this is what we're going to do, this is how to amp up your game virtually, all that stuff. And you're just bombarded with all kinds of information. And quite honestly, I've been absent for quite a while, and I'll address that too. But I just really appreciate you being willing to invest your time to listen to this. I've gotten a lot of messages from you guys that have been extremely encouraging, from listeners who have emailed me, gone to the website, either emailed me or from some of the different events that I've done. They've listened to the podcast and sent some very kind emails. So I appreciate those. Thank you for those. They don't go unnoticed whether I replied or not. I really, really do appreciate it. I try to reply to everything. So if you have sent me an email and I haven't replied, please send another one. I would very much appreciate that. So as we're looking at what we're going to do in 2021 and what I'm going to try to bring you for 2021. Again, I just want to start out with the utmost gratitude for you even considering spending your time listening to me talk about this kind of stuff. I do enjoy doing it, and I'm going to explain, or at least try to explain, and try to clarify, I guess, why there was an absence, exactly what's been happening during that absence, and what things are looking like now and what they're going to look like going forward. So, first of all, where the heck have I been? Have we been? Have Shay and I been? What have we been doing? How have we been affected in the midst of this? Honestly, guys, just like everybody else, we got smashed in the face. When this first happened in March and things in April just started escalating or whatever it was, there were three main ways that I was, earning income just like everybody else. I had my day-to-day things that I did. And for Shay and I, that was projects in Detroit. And we had our management projects that we worked with clients from all over the United States and some internationally as well, helping them renovate homes in Detroit, helping them go through that process, manage their contractors, know exactly what they're supposed to do, sell those homes, whatever it might be. And we had 5 active projects that came to a complete halt. And a lot of these projects were with new investors, new relationships that we were working with, testing out a new market idea. And the market idea was going great, of course, until this happens. And so everything came to a stop there. The other part of my business was live speaking engagements and training and coaching and corporate speaking. I do that with Davenport University IPEX, the Institute of Professionals for Excellence, and some different other independent stuff as well. And I had 12 engagements on the books that got canceled in a couple weeks' time. And for those of you who do gig work-ish, it's not really gig work, but it's gig work, right? It's my own thing. I don't like to call it gig work because sometimes you think about, designing logos on Fiverr as gig work, and that's not what I'm talking about here. But for those of you who are working on your own, your independent contractors, independent clients, imagine, and maybe some of you had this, 17 engagements, 17 between the 5 projects and the other 12 engagements, 17 engagements, 17 things in the span of 2 weeks being canceled on you. Right? Right? That's what I felt like. That's what it was. That's exactly what it was like. And it was crazy. Oh my gosh, was it crazy. And I was in the process of recording the Business Survival Series. And as I was getting through that, and that was sort of where I left off on the podcast, was before the end of that. It was a 4-part thing based on scaling up, which you can listen to the first 3. I never recorded the 4th one because I got to the point where it was like, holy cow, as I'm saying these things and teaching these things, my business isn't going to be able to hold up to the things that I'm teaching, and I need to start acting right now. And so I had to change course completely, and I had to start taking massive action. And so I don't get paid to do this podcast. I don't get paid to deliver content, to post content. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, Facebook, my professional page is not just my personal page. I know there are people who follow just my personal page and are listening now and watching now, and I appreciate that. Thank you again. But for those of you who follow the business page and Instagram pages, again, thank you. But also, I know that the content changed, stopped a few times, a handful of times, and it was mainly just because I was rebuilding again, right? It's not the first time I've had to do it. Hopefully it'll be the last. We're not there yet, but we're working on it. And I'll tell you some of the things that we've done and some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about as we go into season 2, which I think is adequately just going to be themed the rebuild series. I don't know exactly yet. I'll know by next week, but we're going to do every other Wednesday. And I'm going to bring you guys some of the amazing things that I've learned throughout this process. And I'll explain a little bit more about what I'm doing, but just from, I guess, a teaser standpoint. And some of you saw the Instagram post, but we're going to be talking about ego. We're going to be talking about how to change everything that you're doing in order to take care of your own and meet your obligations. We're going to be talking about the mental effects that takes on you, the wear and tear. We're going to be talking about what you can do psychologically, physiologically, what you can do with your action, what you can do mentally, how you can treat that disease that starts to creep in when everything has to change and you just freeze because you're so scared and you're so worried and you don't know what to do, and you feel like everything that you've spent the last however many years going through and building and doing is being pulled right from under you, and there's nothing that can be done, and there's nobody there to help you. Welcome to freaking entrepreneurship. It's a pain in the ass sometimes, but it is what it is. And everybody who's in this world knew that a day like that was probably coming or could come, and it was part of what you factored in when you decided this is what you're going to do with the rest of your life, and this is how you're going to operate for the rest of your life. And as you look at those things and as you think about those things, the mental toll, the anxiety, the stress that goes into attempting to not just deal with it yourself, because that's a whole thing, man. Just dealing with your own inner whatever of being the person that everybody looked to and all this other stuff and everything, to wishing, holy crap, I guess I kind of wish I had a job where somebody would pay me and not think about it. And I know a lot of you got laid off too, and a lot of people got furloughed, and a lot of people that I know personally from my previous world in the seminar world, March happened and their world stopped, and they thought maybe it was going to start up again, and it just hasn't. And I think all of us to a certain extent thought it could start up again, and it just hadn't. And that's why we need to plan ahead of time. But when the plan fails and you got to pivot and pivot and pivot and pivot and pivot, and some of you saw my Instagram post the other day where I talked about that, and Facebook too, where I talked about that, how things get crazy. And like a lot of business owners, I had to pivot and pivot and pivot. So what did we do? How did we do that? Well, the first thing is we had to look at exactly what people would pay for right now. You can see my dog Nuka walking back there, I think. What if you're watching on YouTube? If you're not, watch on YouTube. There's some cool videos. If you are watching on YouTube, this is available audibly, wherever you listen to your podcast. So anyway, what did we do? Well, we had to take massive action. We had to evaluate where we were at, and we had to figure out what can we do? What will people pay us for right now? How can we start to earn that revenue back so we can start to build? We had to look at new things and new ways to generate revenue, because what people were paying us for yesterday, literally yesterday, they're not paying us for today. And it was a lot of people, right? And then we have to look at what resources are available to us and what do we got to do and how can we handle those types of things. And so we did that. And in the midst of doing that, Shay and I, again, we transitioned quite a bit. We hunkered down, we huddled, we stayed close. We have some relationships in Detroit that stayed consistent. We still did business with and are still doing business with, and we still have some stuff working and rocking out there. We're not ever really going to leave Detroit permanently. I don't think that that's a thing, but we cannot continue to advise clients out there until we know exactly what that real estate market is going to look like. And nobody knows what it's going to look like until the world opens back up and businesses start rocking again. So with us being in that type of scenario, we're just sort of sitting on our hands as far as that goes. So what did we do, right? Well, we looked at what we could invest in and what are the things that we could do where we could get the highest return on our invested time. What could we do to get the the quickest return on the time that we were putting in and the money that we invested as well. And we looked at a handful of things, and some of those things were not so glamorous. It was going and working for other people. It was serving other people in that way for a period of time, and getting back into a world that I didn't think I would revisit again. And some of that was using your brain to figure out how to make things work for you better. How can you make money work for you? How can you turn around the resources that you've been given and use those resources to grow? How can you grow them bigger and build them and have them? How can you have those resources come back to you exponentially? And there's ways to do that too. And I found that the quickest way for me to do that was to look into studying further investing in trading options and swing trading. And so if you follow me on Twitter, which is about the only place I've been active, like consistently active over the last probably 8 months or so, you'll see almost everything's related to finance and basketball. And so I do a lot of financial tweeting right now, and a lot of things in that aspect. And finally, the last thing that Shay and I have done together is we recently have launched a new venture called the Rustic Mitten Co., which is a camper and trailer RV rental company based right here in West Michigan that services all of lower West Michigan for sure. And we do a lot of different things throughout the rest of Michigan too. So if you're listening in Michigan and you're looking to do some camping this year, last year was absolutely huge. Check us out. Go to Uncle Google and type in the Rustic Mitten Co. And that will bring up some super cool stuff for you and hopefully guide you in the right direction on helping develop and helping to increase your fun this year with your family. A lot of people are going to continue camping again. I know we are. It's one of the things we did as a family during quarantine and when everything was on lockdown and we were working remotely, is we did a lot of camping, and it's a great way to reconnect and brings out a lot of childhood memories. So that's another thing that we did. And so we're going to talk about the rebuilding process and the rebranding process and going through that too. But the main episodes, right? This is episode 1. This is an intro. I appreciate you listening. Thank you. That's a bit of an update on where we've been, what we've been doing. And we're still around. I am still speaking. I am still teaching, right? I've still done that virtually a handful of times. There's some live events coming up here in March. Hopefully we'll be all open and rocking and rolling by then. That would be the most ideal thing. and something that would be absolutely fantastic. So hopefully that's happening soon, and we'll be able to rock and roll from there. So in March, there's going to be some live events in Grand Rapids, Michigan, management certification through Davenport University that I'm super excited about. Most of the stuff has been virtual that I have been doing. If it has been anything, independent coaching or some of the other teaching and training. But I'm excited to get back out. So we have been doing that. I have been doing that too. I still do that. I still engage in that. I need to stop using that back-to-back term. So if you've listened long enough, hopefully you got a laugh out of that. Man, this is falling off the rails quickly. I'm not even tired, man. It's about midday, so it's not morning. I'm not even tired, and I'm going a little nuts here. So anyway, I'm having fun, guys. Life has been tough. Life has been really, really rough, and we've had to adjust, and we've had to rebuild, and we've had to deal with our ego, and we've had to deal with, conversations that haven't been so pleasant. And we've had to call on resources we didn't think we would have to call on, and we've had to again, have conversations we didn't think we'd have to. And some of them have been hard. We've not declared bankruptcy, so that's not what I'm talking about. But we've just had to have, some we've had to make some business decisions. Because when you're thinking about the highest and best use of your time, right? The highest and best use of your time, especially when it matters the most, you need to ensure that you are 110 million % able to get a return on the time that you are putting in. Because if you're not, or if that return does not really even benefit anything long term, or if it takes away right now short term, good friend of mine, Ken Fortier, wrote a book, and I've mentioned it before, Net Plus Connections, right? It's a great book, and it talks about, are you a net plus asset or are you a net minus asset? If you're a net minus asset in somebody's life, or if somebody's a net minus asset in your life, some house cleaning needs to happen. So we had to have some conversations where, we weren't, in some cases, the best return on this individual's investment. And in other cases, they weren't the best return on our time investment, and they were a client of ours. So we've had to have those types of conversations too. So there's difficult conversations that you need to have. But this is what we're going to cover over the next few episodes, right? So we're going to talk about the ego trip next. All right. Not next Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. It's going to be Wednesday the 20-something probably. Wednesday the 20-something of January 2021. We're going to be talking about the ego trip. Then we're going to be talking about conversations 2 weeks later. And then the stress that comes from that, right? How do you gear yourself up from that? And then we're going to be talking about the therapy and the support, right? And I'm also going to have some interviews with some people in the midst of this and hear about their rebuilding story too. Broughton is still going to be a guest when he wants to be. He was not as excited about being super vocal, just going through the changes that we all go through between the ages of 10 and 13. So he did not. He was a little embarrassed with stuff. He didn't want to say the wrong thing. He didn't want to look dumb. And so he's gotten tons of love, and he's a smart kid, and we're stoked to have him back on for his book reviews and stuff like that too. But I will be, of course, continuing to have some professional interviews and doing, again, my own vignettes. So as we close this out, this first episode of 2021, I just want to thank you again and 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 again for sticking with, for listening, for sharing, for liking, for commenting. So many of you have been so gracious and so encouraging with what we're doing and what we're trying to do. And here's the deal, guys. We're all in this together, especially right now, and we're still trying to get through it. And there's a lot of changes going on, and we need to stay strong. We need to stay focused, and I know everybody's telling you that, and you're sick of hearing it. So again, if you've made it this far, thank you. My name is Mike Doctor. This is Michigan Business Talk. Hit up my website, MikeDoctor.com. I got a new blog on there about some stuff that I've learned trading options over the last year that might be beneficial for some of you who are looking at getting into that. 2021 is supposed to be one of the biggest years. Not biggest, I don't want to say biggest. Definitely the biggest for crypto and for Bitcoin. But it's going to be a strong year again. We're going to see some growth for a variety of different reasons. And it seems weird. It seems counterproductive and counterintuitive. But with the way money works, we're going to continue seeing growth. And I'm excited for you to join in that journey. So if you want to join in that journey, I have resources, not through me, but I have people that I know who, and sources and services that I subscribe to that can help you. So reach out to me, find me, MikeDoctor.com. You can email me, Instagram, Facebook, the whole deal, and check out the Rustic Mint & Co. It's a great company. Shay still does her design, but she does it for all the campers. So check it out, like on it. She's got a lot of cool stuff on there. Instagram, the Rustic Mint & Co. Facebook, the Rustic Mint & Co. Or again, just type it into Uncle Google. Like us, share us. We would greatly appreciate it. So thank you guys. I'm looking forward to 2 weeks from now, getting back on your calendar and helping hopefully bring you guys to that next step and that next level and give you guys some great tips if you're looking to rebuild. So thanks again for listening. From West Michigan, Mike Doctor, Michigan Business Talk. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you soon. Bye now.